warming is defined as an increase in the temperature of Earth. It is also connected with the greenhouse effect, and as a consequence, the poles are melting and animals are getting extinct. Climate change is considered the biggest environmental and humanitarian crisis of all time, and it is affecting each place in different ways. Peru is responsible for just 0.1% of global carbon dioxide emissions, but is one of the countries suffering the most from the impacts of climate change. The impact and social consequences of climate change is what will result from the interactions between changes in the biophysical environmental and changes in the social environment. So, we could classify this problem mainly as an environmental problem. It has consequences such as economic loss, social issues, and even political ones. In Peru, a huge natural phenomenon called El Niño is causing a lot of trouble in the country, mainly in the coasts and in the lands where agriculture is practiced. The fish industry is disappearing, and the agriculture too. The climate change in Peru makes it almost impossible for the government to accomplish all the human rights. And the ones that aren't being accomplished are Article 3. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, and security of a person. The security of people in Peru is not always granted because there are high chances of a natural disaster or that they are affected physically by any kind of anomaly in the climate. Then we have the Article 8 that says everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. Since there are some rights of the UDHR that are being violated and not attended by a competent tribunal, this right also is being violated. And we have the Article 17 that says that no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. The property of people is being destructed by the hostile weather that has been getting worse in the latest years, and this violates the right. Then we have the last and the most important article, that is the Article 21. Everyone has the right to equal access to public service in this country. There has been a lot of events that private people of their basic services and making their needs become practically impossible to satisfy. Interests like the health of the population or the economy of the country are really important to recognize in this issue. The health is being affected by the UV rays thanks to the lack of rain. And as we all know, the exposition to the sun can really damage people's skin and even cause cancer. So this is a really big problem to look up to. Also, because of the drought, the plantations are not producing their vegetables and fruits, and this directly affects the economy of the country. The disappearing of fish species is also a big problem for the economy, since Peru is a huge exporter of fish in the world. Our proposal to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions is by completely deleting the carbon credits and making the more contaminating industries such as Gazprom that produces 10.7% of carbon dioxide, or PetroChina that produces 6.9% of carbon dioxide, totally responsible for the climate change to promote the non-contamination, because contamination leads to climate change, and in this case to the phenomenon El Niño that is now affecting the country. We will create an international agreement in the next General Assembly of the United Nations where we will stipulate that there will be a monetary penalization of the 10% of their income to those industries that exceed the limit of carbon dioxide emission. Hey guys, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Sure.
What would you do in order to stop the climate change?
Well, as students and teenagers, taking in consideration the amount of resources that we have and the media that we have access to, our more viable proposal, and the one we think could get to the more amount of people, is a media campaign through social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many others, promoting financial aid to the affected regions.
And to inform people that there are small daily actions that we can do and help to avoid carbon dioxide emissions.
Like walking or using public transportation instead of using car. Promoting financial aid could be done by donating to various organizations or associations like Greenpeace or the UN's climate change page.
Oh, that's good. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.